Hi everyone. Quick video on matrix systems. So we can certainly use the calculator to solve them, but that's too easy, right? So to do it by hand, let's do a couple of examples. So our first example is going to be x plus 10y equals 7 and negative 6x minus 10y equals 8. Right, so first comes first, we don't really need a matrix to solve the system. We could just use elimination, right? Because we could just add down. But obviously, we have to make things harder for ourselves for no reason, right? So here's what we're gonna do. We have to create two matrices. The first matrix is going to be the coefficients of all of these values, right? So our first matrix will be A, and we'll do 1, 10 for the 1 and the 10, and then negative 6, and then negative 10. And that'll be our first matrix, okay? We're going to make another matrix B, and that's just going to be the two answers, so to speak, for this equation. So we'll have a 7 and an 8 in that order, right? Yes, we can multiply them together because it's a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 1, and we know that those inner numbers are the same, so we can multiply them. So here's how we solve a system with a matrix. We will have to do the inverse of A times B in order to get our answer. And that makes sense because if we were just doing a typical equation, and we had some value A multiplied by some number to equal B, well, we would divide by A on both sides in order to get the answer where X is B over A. But with matrices, we can't divide. There's no such thing as dividing with matrices. So what we do instead is we will multiply both sides by the inverse of A, which makes an identity, which is right. So we're gonna do the inverse of A on both sides. We get the identity matrix, which is X, and that's going to equal, and I'm just going to flip this around a little bit because this is a little bit better of what we want. So we have to do the inverse of A times B. Well, let's recall what we have to do to find an inverse. It's 1 over the determinant of A times this inversion, so to speak, where it's going to be D, negative B, negative C, and A. So if our matrix is in the form of A, B, C, D, like in that form, we're just going to invert the whole thing, and that's going to find our inverse matrix. So let's do that. So to find the determinant, I'm going to cross multiply both of those things and subtract the differences, right? So 1 times negative 10 minus 10 times negative 6. Okay, so that's going to be negative 10 minus negative 60, or this is going to be negative 10 plus 60, or this is going to be 50. The inverted matrix, or this part of the inversion, where D was negative 10, it stays negative 10, right? We have negative B, which is now going to be the inversion of 10, so it's negative 10. Negative C is going to be just 6, and then this negative 10 moved with the 1, so we have a 1 up there. So we actually are going to have to calculate that, and we can leave it as whatever fraction we get. We don't have to simplify it because we're going to multiply it out anyway, right? So we're actually doing like scalar multiplication, and we're going to multiply 1 over 50 times all of these values, right? So in our new value here, for our A, we're going to have a negative 10 over 50. Again, we don't have to simplify it because it doesn't matter. 1 over 50 times negative 10 again is going to be the same, negative 10 over 50. We'll have 6 over 50, and then we'll have just 1 over 50, right? This is a negative 1. This is the inversion. So now we're going to multiply this times matrix B, which we don't do anything to. We just leave it, right? So we're multiplying, and this is the ugly part because multiplication's stinky, right? So row 1, column 1 times row 1, column 1, and then row 1, column 2 times row 2, column 1, right? So negative 10 over 50 times 7 is negative 70 over 50, plus negative 10 over 50 times 8, which is negative 80 over 50. All right, and then we're just going to simplify that, right? So that's negative 150 over 50, which is negative 3. Okay, so negative 3 is going to be our first value, or our X value for this, because this is the identity matrix, or this is the answer matrix. So now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 6 over 50 times 7, which is 42 over 50. And then we're going to add that to 1 over 50 times 8, which is 8 over 50, which gives us 50 over 50, which is 1. And 1 is our Y value. So our answer is negative 3 comma 1, X comma Y, right? So that is going to be the answer to our matrix here. Nice. Let's try another one. Let's see. What's a good one here? Okay, this one's not too bad. Let's try 10x minus 5y equals negative 15, and negative 6x minus 15y equals negative 9, okay? You can go ahead and pause me if you want and try this out, but I'm just gonna go ahead for it. So first we need to make our two matrices, A and B. Right? So A will have as 10, negative 5, negative 6, and negative 15, right? And then we'll have matrix B as just the answers, negative 15 and negative 9, okay? We have to find the inverse of this matrix, so we'll find the determinant first. So remember the determinant is AD minus BC. So we'll do 10 times negative 15, which is negative 150, right? Minus negative 6 times negative 5, which is 30. Okay, so that's going to be a negative 180. Okay, so that is the determinant of matrix A. Right? So now we're going to go further, and we're going to do 1 over negative 180 times the D, negative B, negative C, A thing. Right? So D was negative 15. Negative B is 5. Negative C is 6. And our A is 10. Right? So now we're going to do this calculation to find the inverse. And again, we don't have to simplify it. It's going to not matter anyway because it's going to simplify out in the long run. Right? So scalar multiplication, we're going to distribute this 1 over negative 180 to everything inside. So this will be 15 over 180 because everything cancels. Negative 5 over 180. Negative 6 over 180. And you can see that these numbers will simplify easily anyway. Negative 10 over 180, right? So you can see that. Okay, good. All right, so this is the inverse of A. Okay. Now we're going to multiply it times B, which is negative 15. Oops, I should not have done that. Sorry, ignore that. And this is B, so we're going to multiply these two together, right? So 15 over 180 times negative 15 is negative 225 over 180. That doesn't seem like it's going to simplify nicely. Let's see what happens. Plus negative 5 over 180 times negative 9, which is 45 over 180. Okay, and that's going to give us, negative 180 over 180, which is 1. That's the x value. Because again, it's going to go in this location, so it's going to be our answer matrix. So our answer matrix is 1 for x, and we just have to find what the y is, and we'll do that now. Negative 6 over 180 times negative 15 is 30 over 180. Plus negative 10 over 180 times negative 9 is 90 over 180. Something's weird here. Negative 6 times 15, sir. That's not 30. That's 90. That's silly. This is 180 over 180, which is 1 again. So the answer to this system is 1, 1. Let's check that. That doesn't sound right. Let's go back up. So if I plug in 1 here, I get 10. If I plug in 1 here, I get negative 5. That's not negative 15. Because this is negative 1, isn't it? This is negative 1. That's negative 1. Why didn't you tell me? So if I plug in a negative 1 here, I get negative 10, right? Minus 5, that is negative 15. That checks. Let's check the other one. Negative 1 times 6 is 6. I'm sorry. Negative 1 times negative 6 is 6. Minus 15, that is negative 9. Checks. Our answer is negative 1, 1. Hope that was helpful. Bye.